What's up, guys? Welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. Today, because of the amazing new show, The Penguin, we're counting down the top 5 penguins in Heroclix. Without further ado, let's get to the list. Alright, coming in at number 5 for me is an oldie but a goodie. We have the No Man's Land penguin, and he does look pretty awesome in his white suit, sitting on that throne. Very cool. And now, if you take a look at his actual dial, nothing crazy there. No really amazing stats or powers or anything like that. The main reason I have him on this list at all is just for the simple fact that he is like practically the only character in the entire game that is also a resource, which if you don't know what that is, it's a pretty old thing now. It's kind of like what equipment is nowadays. But it was much more powerful, really, back in the day. It could do a ton of things. The first ever resource was the Infinity Gauntlet, and, we got a Batman utility belt and some other stuff, too. So, but he was, not a great one, but, I mean, the fact that you could just play him for 10 points and, get some bonuses for your team was pretty neat. So his trait here explains it. The penguin always takes his cut. The penguin is a resource assigned to your force and is not placed on the map. Once at the beginning of your turn, you may choose a friendly character. That character can use the power indicated on the dial's current click and modifies its combat values per the current click. At the end of your turn, if the chosen character was given a non-free action this turn, roll a d6 and compare. On a 1, you remove the penguin from the game and heal the chosen character 1 click. On a 2 through 5, turn the penguin's dial to the right once. If the penguin is KO'd, it is removed from the game. On a 6, turn the penguin to any click on the resource dial. So it's cool that you got to choose every turn at the beginning of your turn, what character gets to use the bonuses from the penguin resource. So I think that's really interesting. Starting off, he gives a character +2 speed, energy shield deflection, and -1 damage, which is not great, but I mean, it +2 speed helps you get somewhere. Energy shield does give you some more defense, so I'll take that trade-off. And then once it turns to the right once, it gives you some force blast, +2 attack, and -1 defense. So that's actually really good. Like, even nowadays, the fact that +2 attack, of course, is always going to be good, and force blast gives you knockback on all your attacks. Not too bad at all. And then on the next click, he actually gives you -1 speed, +2 defense, and outwit. So not too bad. That is kind of a more defensive click, +2 to defense and outwit, -1 speed, so you're not really going anywhere if you're not trying to run away. But getting that outwit is really nice, and the +2 defense, of course, can come in handy as well. And then lastly, he goes to -1 attack, toughness, and +2 damage. So the -1 attack does suck, but +2 damage is great, and you got some toughness to get a bit of a reducer. So yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy there. It's a 10-point little thing you can add to your team and swap, pick a different character every turn. And yeah, I just think it's really interesting. We've never had another character. The only other characters, quote unquote, that are also resource dials are vehicles. So he's the only actual character. And I really wish that they would have done more like this. I thought it was a really cool idea. Seeing other mob bosses like the Kingpin or something like that have a resource dial version would have been awesome. Unfortunately, we never got that before resources kind of became extinct. So anyway, he's a very interesting character. For all those reasons, he's coming in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 for me is the Joker's Wild Fast Forces penguin. I think it was actually called The Greatest Foes of Batman or something like that, Fast Forces. But yeah, this was a pretty cool set, some pretty interesting stuff. I actually really like the Batman out of that Fast Forces too. But moving right along here, taking a look at what this guy can do. He only really has one thing going for him, and it's this really interesting trait, which is at the beginning of the game, place a loyalty token on another friendly character's card. The character with a loyalty token modifies its attack and range values by +1, and any adjacent character can be given a free action to make an attack targeting the penguin. If hit, place the loyalty token on the character card of the attacker's choice instead of dealing damage. When the penguin is KO'd, remove the loyalty token from the game. So this was really interesting. You get, he has like 25 points, so he's not super cheap, but you are just essentially giving someone a permanent +1 attack and range value. And really what makes this dude crazy is the fact that anybody can take a free action to attack him and then put the loyalty token on whoever they want if they hit him. And it's pretty easy to hit him with a 16 going on 15 defense. So you could do some cool things like, if you keep another support character in the back near him, once one of your main attackers runs up there and makes his attack, then you could give your other character a free action to attack him and put the loyalty token on another character so then they could run up there and make their attack and get those bonuses as well. So you kind of, move it around a little bit every turn and, get several bonuses out of it. And then, there's the double-edged sword of your opponent being able to run up there and put it on somebody else that they want to. And another thing about this guy, normally you can't attack friendly characters. However, this dude specifically lets friendly characters attack him. So there were some weird shenanigans you could do, a lot of weird things you normally wouldn't be able to do with this guy. I can't remember any of those specific interactions off the top of my head, but it's just one of those cool things like the resource penguin at number 5 that it's just, there's not any other characters that do this kind of stuff. So it's a very interestingly designed figure and, just a really cool support figure for your whole team. So again, for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 4. All right, coming in at number 3, we have the actual super rare penguin from Joker's Wild. The cool thing about this one is it is kind of the same sculpt as the Fast Forces one, but it also has an extra little icy base here with a bunch of penguins on it, and you get a little detachable penguin, which is super awesome. You gotta love the little detachable elements that they occasionally give us. I honestly wish we could get more of those. But taking a look at what he can do here, he starts with a trait that says once per turn, for all characters with this trait, if a character uses the Batman enemy team ability to replace their attack value with the penguins, after actions resolve, you may give a Robo Penguin a move action as a free action. So that was kind of the theme of all the Batman villains this set. Whenever they use the TA to replace their attack value, you get to do something else. Now, he only starts with a 10 and goes down to a 9, so pretty unlikely, unless you're already a 10, that you're going to want to replace them. But, you might, just to give the move action to a Robo Penguin, that might, work in your favor more. But his other trait here is give the penguin a power action to place adjacent a Robo Penguin bystander of your choice as described on this card. And then give the penguin a power action to give each Robo Penguin a move action as free. So power action to make a penguin, power action to move all the penguins for free. Not too bad. And then his special damage power says the penguin begins the game with the Robo Penguin attached. When placing a Robo Penguin bystander on the map, you may remove the Robo Penguin from Penguin's base and use it to represent the bystander. This bystander modifies its combat values by +1, and when it is KO'd, reattach the Robo Penguin to the Penguin's base. So pretty cool. You could choose anytime you make a penguin to detach the one from his base and give it +1 all stats, which is really nice. Taking a look at all the Robo Penguins in here in his card, they all have a trait that Robo Penguins move actions don't count against your action total, so you can be giving them all move actions all the time. Just whenever they attack, that will count against your action total for the turn. So they almost all have the same stats with 4 movement, 16 defense, and 1 damage. Only difference is that the Pulse Wave Penguin has a 9 attack, whereas the other two have a 10 attack. And the Close Attack Penguin doesn't have any range like the other two. However, you got Sidestep Pulse Wave, Toughness, or you got Charge, Combat Reflexes, Exploit, or you got Running Shot, Penetrating Blast, and Energy Shield. Personally, I feel like the Running Shot Pensai with the +1 stats is pretty great because you get that +1 to range as well. And don't forget, you have Replace Then Modify on the Charge and the Running Shot Penguins. So if they have the +1 stats, they would Charge or Running Shot 2 and then +1 to actually be able to move 3. And with the Running Shot Penguin, he'd have 6 range, so he just has the most reach of all the penguins. and he'd have an 11 attack for 2 pen. So I think that's the best one maybe to make with the +1 all stats. Unless you're already up close to somebody, then of course the close-up one with exploit's probably a little better. And the cool thing about the Pulse Wave Penguin is that with the new Pulse Wave rules, it would actually give you the replacement range of 4 from Pulse Wave and then +1 to 5 if you're using the +1 all stats Penguin. So you could get a 5 range, 10 attack Pulse Wave. So yeah, they're all pretty good, honestly, if you just keep spamming them out there. Not bad at all. He does have stealth with an 18 defend for 40 points. Not bad. Kind of just sit him in the back there and just be popping out penguins left and right. And yeah, I don't know. He's a pretty fun, interesting version of the character. I love just generating all the penguin bystanders because it's just a lot of fun to have an army of penguins slowly moving across the board and just blasting people. So yeah, I love the sculpt on this guy with all the penguins, and the dial's super fun. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 3. All right, moving right along to number 2, the newer penguin here from one of the recent OP kits. I actually forget what the OP kit was called now, but it had the Joker and Two-Face as well. And the reason this one is so good, we'll take a look here. He just has this trait that at the beginning of the game, you may replace the penguin with a character of 50 points or less and the monster keyword on their starting click. This game, that character can use the standard powers the penguin can use on his starting click and has the Batman enemy team ability. And when this character would take damage, instead replace them with the penguin on his starting click. So 55 points to swap him to any 50-point monster is pretty cool. You know, you have things like Kong. It doesn't say standard character, just monster, 50 points or less. And back when he came out, Carnage Silver Surfer was still legal, so that was a really good swap as well. And does give the character Stealth, Mastermind, and Outwit, which is pretty nuts, as well as the Batman enemy team ability. So lots of insane combos you could do there, swapping to some of those crazy powerful monsters. And then he also has a special attack power when he does come back out. So the swapped character can't actually use this because it's a special power, but it does give him free choose one to use this turn, Blades, Claws, Fangs, or Energy Explosion. So he's a threat at close or range, but really just that swapping ability is just so massive. He was actually played at some meta level events, like a lot of these penguins have actually. One thing I wanted to say was I think the penguin in general has the most like meta competitive level pieces of any Batman villain. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've seen many Jokers or Two-Faces or anything like that. Maybe Poison Ivy or Harley more recently. They got a lot of really good versions. But I think just in Heroclix in the past, over time, there's been a lot of really, really solid penguins. And this is one of the best ones right here. So yeah, the good thing about this guy is that he's going to be really useful for Silver Age and Modern Age moving forward. You know, any 50-point or less monster you can think of is a potential swap for this guy. And honestly, same with the Joker from this set. They both have the same trait. So just, you know, your imagination is pretty much the limit as long as it's a 50-point or less monster. There's just a world of possibilities out there. Of course, there's the obvious choices like I've already mentioned, but you could do some very interesting things with that. And it's, you know, monster is always a good keyword. It's, I don't think, ever going to stop being a good keyword. So even in the future, we could see some pretty crazy potential from this guy. So definitely keep an eye out on him. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 2. But before we get to our number 1 pick, as usual, we have some honorable mentions to check out. There's a lot of interesting and cool penguin figures in this game, but here's just a few I wanted to kind of quickly go over. So one of them here, we got to talk about the Batman Animated Series set. This one specifically is the release day OP kit, or whatever it was called at the time. So he's the number 100 penguin from the set. He just does some fun stuff where if he's given a move action after resolutions, you can generate an Emperor Penguin bystander in the square he began movement in, max 2 for those. They do have the swim ability, and they have autonomous as well, so they can kind of just walk around, force blast stuff, whatever, or just be like mastermind fodder for other characters. And he also has a trait where when he makes an attack with a single target, if no opposing characters besides the target have line of fire to the penguin, after resolutions, you can remove his action token. So, you know, if he kind of sneaks around and shoots somebody that nobody else can see. Nobody can prove it. He's a legitimate businessman. So it's pretty funny. And then, nothing too crazy. Just some sidestep, Quake, Mastermind, and Outwit for 50 points, as well as the Batman TA. The actual main set one is pretty good as well with the same sculpt. That one is just like an uncommon that has, the usual leadership that generates minions. He has generates those suited henchmen minions from that set. And otherwise, pretty similar kind of penguin. But anyway, moving right along here, next one I want to take a quick look at is this really old one from the Gotham City strategy game. I like the sculpt on this one. Looks pretty neat. But taking a look at his card, he has another Penguin Atoma Bombs trait. So you can give him a power action if there's no friendly Penguin Atoma Bombs on the map, and place one on the map in a square adjacent to the Penguin. And it's just a bystander as described on this card. And then he has another trait where opposing characters within 4 squares can't use Outwit. That's the main reason I think this one is really cool. Besides, I love the Penguin generating, but no Outwit for opposing characters within 4 is pretty freaking powerful. Now, he is 70 points and doesn't have very good stats or anything, but he does have his own Outwit. And then he also, makes these Penguin bystanders that their combat values can't be modified, which kind of sucks because you can't perplex them up either. But the Penguin Atoma Bomb does have a special attack power that's pretty much just Pulse Wave that deals 2 damage and then deals 1 unavoidable to the Penguin bystander. So you just, blow it up, make a new one, go do it again. Yeah, I don't know, kind of fun. Overcosted nowadays for sure, but, just shutting off Outwit and making a penguin is pretty neat. And last but not least, we have this newer one from the Batman team-up set that has a team-up card as well. So his normal card just has the one trait that friendly characters with the Batman enemy team ability have the Underworld team ability. So just handing that out to everybody is pretty cool. He has a pretty decent dial for 50 or 25 points. Some running shot precision, energy shield shape change, or you got precision and range combat expert for just 25 points. Yeah, not too shabby at all, honestly. But his team-up card is for a Gotham City Underworld theme team, and says if the Penguin is part of the listed theme team, at the beginning of your turn, roll a d6, and the Penguin can use the resulting effect until your next turn. On a 3 through 5 characters without the Underworld team ability can't carry more than 1 character. On a 6, characters without the Underworld team ability can't carry. So it can potentially shut off carrying altogether on your opponent's team, which is pretty cool. And like I said, he has decent stats and powers as far as penguins go. So for all those reasons, those are my honorable mentions for today. There's, like I said, a bunch of other pretty neat penguins as well, even though a lot of them are just kind of overcosted by today's standards. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to my number 1 pick. All right, and waddling his way into the number 1 spot is, you guessed it, the new super rare penguin from Notorious. Not only does this guy have the best penguin sculpt in the game, I mean, look at all that cool poisonous gas coming out of his umbrella, and the second umbrella over his head and everything, like just so much detail. What an epic sculpt, but also has possibly the best dial for a penguin we've ever had as well. So first of all, he does have Batman enemy and team player team abilities. I think that's one thing I kind of forgot to mention. Pretty much every penguin has the Batman enemy team ability. Some of them have Underworld or whatever. But yeah, Batman enemy, and this one actually being a wild card, can copy other things, so that's pretty nice. He also has an insane amount of keywords compared to most penguins. Again, I didn't really mention it on the other ones, but most of them just have Gotham City Underworld and like a politician and, maybe 1 or 2 other random keywords. But this dude has Birds of Prey, Gotham City Underworld, Injustice League, Secret Society, Supervillains, Brute, and Politician. Like, wow, just give him everything, why don't you? That's crazy compared to the other ones. Like, I don't know why they went so hard on his keywords. But coming in at only 40 points, he does start with some running shot, 5 range, flight, which is kind of crazy. Mastermind, leadership, pretty good stats as well. And then this cool trait that once per turn, when a friendly character uses the expendable goon trait, you may re-roll that d6. And then at the beginning of the game, if you're not the first player, generate up to 2 characters with the expendable goon trait on their 15-point starting lines. So I really love, just the fact that he gets all these goons potentially, or that he can re-roll the d6 for all the goons. And if you don't know, all the expendable goons from this Notorious set and a few other sets actually, they all have like a 50-point dial and a 15-point dial. Usually you just want to play them at 15, and they all have the expendable goon trait where you roll a d6. On a 1 through 3, you do some random little effect depending on what goon it is. They all do something different. Or I think it's on a 4 through 6, they just replace themselves. You just put another expendable goon in their place. So it's really awesome ability to be able to re-roll that every turn and start with 2 free ones potentially. And then taking a look at his special attack power, he has free, choose an effect for the penguin or an adjacent friendly character to use until your next turn. You either get poison and smoke cloud as free, but only to generate 3 markers, or you get blades, claws, fangs, and precision strike, or energy explosion and knockback. Those are all such amazing combos to have. I really enjoyed running this guy on a team with the Apocalypse and Genesis from X of Swords. He's a brute, so they made him an X-Men, and then he could just hand out blades, claws, fangs to people or himself with precision strike. It was a really great combo because they also do a bunch of buffs for blades, claws, and stuff. Still a good combo for Silver Age, I would say. And then, the poison and smoke cloud is free for the 3 squares is really good for the Joker in this set that has like some special abilities with smoke cloud. I think you can poison from the smoke cloud or something like that. I don't remember. I just remember it being a good combo. And then, energy explosion and knockback. That's always good. You just blow up a bunch of characters, knock them all back into a wall, do some extra damage, why not? Giving himself that, or a minion, some random goon, or some other big actual threat of an attacker. It's just really cool that he can hand that out to people. And, he's only 40 points. He's given you potentially 2 15-point goons. That's already like 30 points of value right there for his 40 points if you're going second. Being able to re-roll the goons every single turn. If you just have 1 or 2 on your team anyway, and you didn't get the extra 2 from him, he could potentially keep re-rolling that and just keep giving you more goons to replace the ones that get KO'd. And just the pickup power is amazing. So overall, just tons of utility and just an epic sculpt. Like I said, probably the best penguin sculpt we've ever had, best penguin dial I think we've ever had. So for all those reasons, he's coming in at number 1. All right, you guys, so that does it for this top 5 list. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions about it in the comments below. What is your favorite penguin? I'd love to hear about it. And feel free to nominate another character for a future top 5 list while you're there. But if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to smash that like button and click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more, check the links in the description for the Patreon, where you can see your name here in the credits with all these other people. And for as little as $1 a month, you can also get entered into my monthly giveaways. So check that out if that interests you. But that's going to do it for this one, you guys. Thanks again so much for watching. Till next time, this has been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.